Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we have the latest from the live radar, run for the latest UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. We are starting to see this heat wave breaking down, especially in the west, but more widely further eastwards over the next day or two, with lots of heavy showers and some thunderstorms in places throughout the rest of this week. There will still be some warmth around, still mid-20s over the next few days in those drier spots, and even 30 degrees potentially on Friday, so we do see a small burst of heat. That could exacerbate the risk of storms, and it could mean that it does go pretty lively indeed in some areas. That sort of pattern looks like it's going to consolidate itself over the next couple of weeks, as we'll see from the longer range charts. Warm, above average, with potentially further spikes in heat, but remaining unsettled with showers and storms never too far away. So still keeping on that summery trend in terms of temperatures, but not seeing too much in the way of wall-to-wall sunshine or widespread dry conditions, at least for the next week or so. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, do like and subscribe. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see what I'm talking about this evening. Calling this around 8 PM, you can see there's quite widespread shower activity. There are some dry spells, like across southern Scotland, parts of northern England, down across central and eastern England, it's reasonably dry. But elsewhere, there are hefty showers, some of them light to moderate intensity, some, like these showers up towards Scarborough, are very heavy and thundery in nature, and that is going to continue over the next few days. Now, if we look at the temperatures this evening, you can see it's warmest across England and Wales, especially in the far east, where we're both hanging on to the dry conditions and the slightly warmer air. But further north to westwards, more showers around, cooler, fresher conditions moving in. It has cooled down considerably today. Now, if you look at the net weather, you can see the top temperatures today, widely 25 to 28 degrees. Again, Lakenheath a little bit off kilter there, 3 degrees above the rest of the weather station. So I suspect, again, that is not particularly accurate. But widely 25 to 28, still well above average, just not quite hitting those levels we've seen over the past few days. But most of these areas are across central or eastern England, where we have just about hung on to that warmth. Now, if you go over to the latest UKV, you can see some showers around at the moment, potentially some thunderstorms in places overnight tonight. Quite a lot of activity, especially around the Irish Sea into Tuesday morning. Lots of heavy showers, organised showers, and some embedded thunderstorms within that. As we head into the afternoon, the sort of more organised rain breaks down, but still hefty showers, some darker reds appearing there through the afternoon and evening. As we head into Wednesday, potentially some more persistent rain in the far south into the morning, but it does look pretty light. And then as we head into the afternoon, it's actually pretty dry, a bit of a lull there through Wednesday afternoon. And then into the evening, more showers start to approach, potentially further storms in the north and west during the afternoon. And as we head into Friday, it could turn really warm for a time as we see a small burst of heat in the southeast. But combined with the instability, could be quite a few hefty showers and storms breaking out during the afternoon and into the evening and into Saturday. Another large area of rain, storms potentially more organised as we do head during the afternoon into the evening. Now again, we'll have to take all of these precipitation charts with a bit of a pinch of salt there, as of course this is convection based, so there's a high chance that a lot of this does move around, both in positioning and in intensity. But at the moment, this is sort of the best data we've got to go off. You can just generally see widespread hefty showers and storms, some areas remaining dry, of course more likely in the east, furthest away from the lower pressure, but you can see pretty much anywhere is going to get hit by some of those showers over the next few days. Temperatures are going to be up and down. You see today, best in the east, 26, 27, further westwards, low 20s or even high teens. Into Tuesday, it's a pretty poor day, poorest day we've had in a while, maybe 23 or 24 at best, but most touching 20 or staying in the teens. As we head into Wednesday, again, temperatures not too bad, warming up a little bit in the far south, 27 degrees is possible, again a small burst of warmth with that, and you see the same into Thursday, where it could even be 29 degrees towards London, so pretty hot actually, but elsewhere high teens, low 20s with more showers. As said, into Friday, could even touch 30 degrees, back towards heatwave levels in the east. But again, it's a small burst of heat, it's not widespread, it's just across the East Anglia, East Midlands, down towards the south east. So most other areas around the mid to low 20s, or again still in the teens. And then you can see into Saturday, potentially still a bit of warmth around the far south coast, but with more showers and of course storm activity within that burst of heat. It is much cooler, high teens or low 20s for many. So very variable temperatures over the next few days will be very dependent on the shower and storm activity. So at the moment, they are going hand in hand. So you might see 30 degrees here for Friday, but it might only be 20 degrees if shower and storm positions do move. So as I said, do take it with a grain of salt. Things will shift and we'll keep you updated over the next few days. Now, if you look at the latest GFS, you can see low pressure approaching from the west. It's not going to hit us with full force. It is going to disintegrate away as it clears through, fill in with pressure rising. So we're not going to see the full brunt of that low pressure system, but it is going to cause showers and storms over the next few days. A little bit of a lull there through Wednesday. That's why it's slightly drier in places. And then later in the week, more lower pressure arrives. Again, just general instability, making it pretty difficult to predict the exact positioning and intensity of showers and storms. But we roughly know positioning and how severe they're going to be. It stays pretty unsettled even into next week, for there are signs of high pressure nudging into the south, but never fully dominating. So I suspect, as I said at the start of the video, a showery, unsettled but warm pattern is likely to dominate there towards the end of the month. Eventually, the Azores high extends in, looks pretty dry and warm, but again, that is right towards the end of the month. The next week to 10 days, reliable time frame, as I said, looks unsettled and warm. Do check out the latest GM. Again, low pressure moving through, looks pretty unsettled at times. And you can see later on this week into next week, a diving low heading southwards. Again, that could be quite a storm sort of creator there. And then generally towards day 10, keeping with that battle between high pressure, low pressure, but generally the instability winning out majority of the time. And finally, if we check out the latest ECMWF, low pressure continues to be around. Eventually the low clears southwards and we see a bit of high pressure around day 10, but again, never fully dominating, just extending in from the south, which means yes, drier and warmer days are possible, but I don't suspect it's going to really be too widespread or too long lasting. Again, going along with that sort of headline of unsettled but warm there towards the end of this month. And we see that on the latest ensembles. Generally, we're average to above average over the next couple of weeks. A bit of a dip at the moment, but later on this week, above average, maybe dipping back close to average, but quite a few warmer runs there. We see moderate precipitation around, lots of convection, lots of showers there as we do progress into the next couple of weeks. You can see the 2 meter temperatures are pretty similar. Low 20s or mid 20s at times. For London, of course, will be cooler further westward. So nothing too poor, but nothing too amazing at this stage. And as I said, we could see further bursts of heat like we could see later on this week. We could see further of those warmer spells later on in the month. But I do suspect they'll kind of crop up at very short notice depending on the track of the low pressure systems. All we need is a small southerly wind for 12 to 24 hours and we draw in some very warm air across southern France and Spain and the Mediterranean. So it's never too far away, but of course don't suspect we'll see any locked in patterns, at least for the next week or two. And if we finish by looking at the ECMWF ensembles, again, a little bit cooler at the moment, but above average generally there later on this week into next week, then back towards average, but again, lots of spread there, but pretty moderate precipitation. So looking reasonably unsettled and stormy there as we do progress into the final third of the month. So if you have enjoyed the heat, the humidity and dry conditions we've seen over the past few weeks and generally the sort of start of summer, it isn't really going to sustain itself. We are going to see a lot more rain and storms around over the next week or two. So hopefully it does alleviate some of the issues we have with, of course, drought, hose pipe bans in places at the moment. Hopefully it does alleviate that. And of course, it's going to bring a bit of a fresher feel out there as well. So hopefully people prefer this pattern a little bit. Of course, some thunderstorms around always can make it a little bit interesting as well. So of course, we'll keep you updated over the course of the next few days, the next few weeks. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.